Hello and welcome to Mad Owl Goes Racing, and today we are back in Automobilista 2 having a look at the evolving, I think that's the right word I'm looking for, beta. We're in the second week of it now, and there was a big update. They've made changes in the physics, user interface, graphics for various tracks, all sorts really. Basically everywhere has had little changes and a few bigger changes made to it. So as always with Reza, it's polish away until we get to the point that there's no more polish. And of course I will mention this is of course a beta, so if you spot anything that looks a bit dodgy, don't panic, it'll get sorted. Now the Aussie V8, I think they may have toned the grip down a little bit. I'm not 100% sure. They did adjust the grip in most of the tyres. I'm not saying all the tyres. I didn't sort of have the opportunity to literally go back to back with every single car. They've definitely toned down the 620 Caterham a little bit, so it's more like the level of the AMS1 version. So now if you give it too much welly coming out of a corner and it loses traction, you will literally just spin out in a cloud of smoke, which is what would probably happen in AMS1 as well. So I haven't tried to see how much slower it is than it was previously. I will go and have a look at some point, but for now we'll just have a look around here. One of the things I did add was Imola 2001, and I think I've pressed the right button this time. Right, I don't know if they will be. I don't know if they'll be changing the start lights to be slightly less Project Cars like, because a lot of people go on, oh, it looks too much like Project Cars. But then so do the AI at the moment. I think there is a little bit more liveliness in the FFB. I'm trying not to ram anybody. I'm not sure what, if any, sort of order the AI is in terms of sort of fastest to slowest. They're probably completely random, so we might find a couple at the back are quite slow and a couple at the front will be ridiculously fast. I don't know yet. Now, how brave am I feeling? I'm not brave enough, I think. Can we sneak in? Yep, just about. A little bit sneaky, but one of these days I'll get that corner right. This is one of those tracks, I'm pretty sure I remember it from the Top Array series, which was one of my all-time favourite race games. I have to say it does go over the curves beautifully. So you can do your real Aussie V8 curb jumping, which is always fun. Whoops. You have to be a little bit careful. You can't actually see it because my face will be in the way, but they have changed the minimal HUD to be slightly different. It's basically got very similar widget elements to it, but it's now sort of elongated in the corner and got the similar style of surround to the other elements in the UI, so that's like a first step. Hopefully there'll be a bit more UI turning up with the third week of the beta. There have been a few changes to their what they're hoping to release and when, because they were hoping to get multiplayer out with this, but I think they made a sensible move by sticking to a slightly slower release maybe. And I wouldn't be surprised if they turned around and went, well, they're going to give it a couple of 3 extra weeks before they actually release it, because there is a lot of work still to do, and I'm not sure they would get to a point of actually being absolutely happy with it in 3 weeks' time. I mean, they've still got all the open wheel cars still look like there's no animation on them, like arms for the suspension or anything, so they look a bit strange. The sort of the wheels are sort of bouncing around, and all the suspension arms are static, so it does look a little strange. But I have to say, having been through WMD 1 and 2, I think they're actually progressing quite quickly. I don't know how many people I've got who are capable of doing each of the different parts of the job. We're going to run a bit wide there if we're not careful. Notice how well it went over the curb there. None of this trying to throw the car around a corner as it got on the curb. One of the things they changed, I don't know if that's made any difference as far as sort of being on the curb like that's concerned. They've changed the bump stops so they're slightly more progressive, or they're maybe multi-stage. I can't remember the exact terms used, but sneak through. Bit naughty. Oh, and he's still beside us. This should prove interesting. I'll give him the room, because otherwise we're never all going to get through. Whoop. Bit too much curb there. Big old car and quite heavy. It would be nice if you could actually see the rev lights, but they're sort of tucked behind the steering wheel a bit, which is interesting one in the mirror there. I don't know if you saw that, but the AI got itself on the curb and launched itself a bit there. I was going to say, was that the last lap? I couldn't remember. Now, I don't know if that was us in ninth or what, but there are a few. Oh, I think we only ever appeared once. There were a few times where names appeared more than once, but appears okay now. So that's Adelaide. Nice little track. If we go back, we can have a look at the replay and see what that looks like. If I leave it on trackside, I'm not sure if that's the best. I think they might be better off in chase cam. And you can turn on the map and turn off the interface. No, that's the same map that should hopefully appear in the HUD at some point. I'd really like to go with a trackside, but I don't think the trackside cameras are. I think some of them are okay, but one or two of them were a bit all over the place. No surprise, not a problem. Will be sorted, like everything else. Can look to see how brave I am, or probably not, going through the fast corner there. Cars look really nice, like they're elbows out, all reacting nicely over the bumps and everything, so I have to say it's looking good. The usual selection of little bits of rubber on the side of the track. I'm not sure if they're going to do something about the crowds. They all look a bit flat. Like they might need a few people waving flags, and SMS in Project Cars put some sort of animated people in amongst the sort of more static ones, so you got a bit of movement, but you'd still have lots of basically 2D billboard style people around the track. Yes, obviously they do need to work on the cameras a bit. Some very, very long camera shots going on there. But again, this is one of the cars that got fixed. There was an issue with some of the materials, I think it was, causing the bodywork of the car to not appear. So you had these cars that were just a shell, like just a sort of like chassis with no shell around the outside. In terms of these, they're looking very good. I think what we'll do is we'll have a quickly nip to Imola, the 2001 version. Have a quick look around there as it's just been added, and I think we'll do that in the. I'll choose the 620. Turn on my menu. Try the 620R, and you can see how we might end up on a screen. This is triple screen here. Not sure what's up with that. It's obviously a bit of a UI error. Oh, you're going to go back. Come on, thank you. Right, I'll go to test day, and we will go to Imola, and like I said, we'll go with the 620. Nice red one. Imola, which one is it? That one. Now, this is probably the version of the circuit that will confuse the crap out of me, because I can't remember where half of it goes, but what are we going with? Light cloud. Let's give it a bit more. Make it overcast. Overcast or bright sunshine? You vote. Overcast it is then. So that's an overcast day in Italy. Alright, Imola tends to be the San Marino Grand Prix or event usually. Right, nice cold tyres to get started on. Just do a couple of laps. Now, I don't know whether the camera position has changed a bit, because I was I playing it on VR in this one, or was I'll just move my bum down a bit. It's a bit better. Feels like there's a little less grip than there was. But that is what they said, they had reduced grip on both dry and wet. Now the wet grip is an interesting one, because basically, although a wet tyre has probably got more grip in terms of being a softer tyre, although very modern ones, I'm not sure how true that is anymore, because they're actually quite hard wearing in some cases. Project Cars 2, they actually did a lot of getting the lap times down to a sort of wet type level by slowing the cars down quite a lot down the straights through adding lots of drag when it was wet, to the point where something like a Janetta Junior, if you were in that, you couldn't get into top gear because it basically didn't have the grunt to overcome the extra drag. Now, where's the track go? This is slightly bizarre, because I think this is still the route they take for some of the other World Seat rights. We're using this the other year still. Yeah, if you don't manage to get your grip down to a level that is representative of what you would see on a wet track, because obviously you can't go as quick, although the difference between damp and wet is quite subtle, because as long as you can keep heating the tyres, you can in fact use a slick tyre on damp tarmac, and it's only when it gets above a certain saturation level that you start to lose grip, because water effectively gets between the tyre and the tarmac, as well as cooling your tyre down. So yeah, there's definitely a little less grip at the back end. They're going to change slightly the way car reacts when it gets to the top end of the rev range. I'm assuming there'd be a soft limiter or something there, so it'd probably sound a little different to that, but not really sure. I don't tend to stick engines on the limiter very often. Whoop. Oh no. Getting confused about which version of the track I'm on. But overall, everything's coming along quite nicely. I think they've now got the tyres probably about right on this, in terms of comparing with a AMS, but the way they react is slightly more rubbery, if you know what I mean. Got too much curb, caused the car to rotate a bit. But yes, it's certainly getting along quite nicely. My tyres are cooling down a bit, or are they heating up? I'm not sure. Were they completely cold when we started? I think they were. Oops. Seems possibly a little bit more stable on the brakes, and when I say stable I mean the sort of first release you could lock the rear brakes a little bit. I don't know whether they've adjusted the default balance a little bit. Practically couldn't do that in the first beta because there was just too much grip when it was lateral, so you'd end up, well, it wasn't so much there was too much grip as your lateral grip sort of killed off the slide a bit, so you couldn't sort of spin the tyres and carry on spinning the car like that. Now whether or not that's 100% accurate, I don't know. There were one or two people who complained about the fact you couldn't do that, so they've changed it. I'm sure somebody somewhere will say yes or no to it's accurate or isn't. But you can feel when you're about to lose the back end still, which is the important bit, because without that you're absolutely buggered, because you're never going to know when you're about to spin the car. So it's coming along nicely. Like I said, if they manage to get to the point where what the current content is, plus what they're planning to add in the next 3 weeks, is all reasonably polished by the end of the month, I will be well impressed. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few things that still need a little bit of tweaking here and there by that point. But I don't think it'll be a major issue either way. I think enough people can see the promise in the game that is there to be able to say yes, go for it and get it and start playing it and start using it for leagues and all the other things that will happen. So watch this space, more to come. But for now, I think I'll do for now. And if you heard any coughing in the background, that was my mother keep having coughing fits, so back to the hospital again no doubt soon. So for now, that's all from me. Enjoy your racing, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.